Hey love, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Laura Renee and I'm so glad you're here. This is a space where I like to talk about all things faith, femininity, personal development, adulthood, lifestyle, beauty, all of the things. So if any of these topics interest you, feel free to like, share, subscribe, and keep watching. Today I wanted to come on here and talk about a few different signs that show that you are stepping into your femininity, your feminine era, beginning your feminine journey, all of it, okay? But first I wanted to just give a quick little disclaimer and say that there is no one set expression that embodies femininity. There are so many different ways to embody femininity. And now that the soft life culture or aesthetic is starting to become a lot more popular, I feel like it can discourage a lot of women who see that and feel like, I'm a woman and I don't want to look like that. I don't want to walk around in the cottage dresses to my knees and the pretty pink ballet slippers and always walking around wearing the color pink or white. Like, slick back buns, like that's not really my vibe. And I just want to say that there is no one way to express femininity. There are so many different expressions of it. So if you are, starting to go down your own feminine journey or stepping into your own feminine era, I just want to encourage you and say that find your own vibe, find your own style and your own ways, because it's kind of hard to walk in femininity when you're not confident, and it's hard to be confident when you're not fully being yourself. And so whatever femininity means to you, walk in that, embody that, and don't worry about what the next woman looks like or what the next woman is doing. True femininity honestly starts from the inside before it's ever manifested on the outside. It's something that you carry in your spirit, something that you carry in your walk, in your confidence, in your aura. It's not something that you just carry in your aesthetic. So focus not so much on what you look like on the outside that makes you a feminine woman, but more so the traits and the character that you have from the inside out, and know that that is what makes you feminine first, not just what you look like. So the first sign that you may be stepping into your feminine journey is that you begin to seek peace more than you seek chaos. One character trait that is very important in all feminine women is the ability to quiet the noise around them and truly know how to be grounded within themselves. As you begin to become more grounded within yourself, you really learn to just seek peace. And you learn to seek your own company and your own validation more than you seek to be a part of the crowd, more than you seek to be a part of any one circle. You start to really learn how to listen to your own voice and how to follow your own rhythm. But first, you have to know what that rhythm looks like and what that inner voice sounds like. And usually that comes with quieting down the noise, learning how to be away, learning how to be in your own company. Normally, for some women, this starts in a season of solitude. I know for me, it did. Honestly, my season of solitude was the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because I learned who I truly am away from the influences, away from the noise, away from the crowds. I had to sit and ask myself, who is Laura really? Like, what does she like? What does she like to do? What does her voice sounds like against the voice of the world? And that's a very important part of your feminine journey, because it helps you build confidence. It helps you build an inner sense of peace, that even when you're going through something chaotic on the outside, you know how to quiet down that noise within yourself and how to truly just be grounded and find peace within. I don't know about anybody else, but for me, smoking used to be the biggest way that I used to find peace. And it wasn't until last year that I completely stopped, that I was able to realize, like, Lord, there are better ways to find peace. There are better ways to quiet down your emotions and your thoughts. And sometimes it's just feeling them. So if you find yourself turning away from chaos, turning away from chaotic situations, handling yourself with a lot more grace, and really appreciating the peace that comes from within, that is probably a sign that you are stepping into your femininity. The next sign that you are probably stepping into your feminine journey is that you begin to develop a stronger desire for self-care. Self-care is more than just giving yourself what you want. Self-care is not going on a shopping spree and swiping your credit card all day long and calling that self-care. No, baby, that's retail therapy, and those are two different things. But self-care is rooted in giving your body and yourself what it needs to feel nurtured, not just what it wants. And so self-care can look like allowing yourself to have more rest. If you typically, work a busy schedule between school, work, creating or hobbies or whatever the case may be, you start to value rest a lot more instead of allowing yourself to just burn out to be productive and get a whole bunch of things done. It's important to learn how to be gentle with yourself. You start to honor what it's like to be more gentle with yourself and allow yourself to give it what it needs, whether it's a nice hot bath or whether it's a quiet night alone, whether it's a solo date away from everybody, whether it's going on a trip. So many different things can look like self-care, but it really looks like nurturing yourself. This can also look like being more intentional about your nutrition, being more conscious of the things that you eat, cooking more meals for yourself at home, moving your body more, going to the gym, going for a walk. There are so many different ways that self-care looks like, but overall, if you feel yourself feeling, pulled to pour into yourself a lot more, then this is a sign that you are definitely stepping into your femininity. The third sign that you may be stepping into your feminine era or into your femininity, because let's be real, it's not just an era, it's something that you want to carry for the rest of your life. But this sign is that you start to seek validation less from others and more from yourself. When you learn to seek validation from yourself before others, this looks like validating yourself. You might have a crazy idea and it may look weird to other people, but you decide to run with it anyways. This looks like stepping out on faith to do something that you believe in, whether the world around you, whether that's friends, family, strangers, or followers, whether they agree with it or not, you choose to believe in yourself and bet on yourself anyways. And what this also looks like is building a silent confidence within that just means I don't really care what other people think. I only care what I think. And the reason why I believe this is such a feminine trait is because femininity is hard to embody if you are not confident in yourself and if you are not sure of yourself. When you learn how to validate yourself and celebrate yourself and motivate yourself and cheer yourself on, you are able to be sure of the choices that you make and even sure of the mistakes that you make. Even if you make a decision and it doesn't turn out well in your favor how you thought it would, you don't bash yourself. It's not a girl I told you or girl I knew that wasn't going to work out. It was, oh, well, what's next? I'm sure there's another opportunity around the corner to make a better choice or whatever the case may be. So it just looks like being sure of yourself, being honest with yourself, being transparent, and just being real, being authentically you and not really caring about how the world around you receives that. You know what I mean? The next sign that you may be stepping into your femininity is that you begin to look for a deeper meaning in life. As you start to grow more self-aware of yourself, a lot of questions might start to stir within you, like, who am I? Who am I meant to be? What is my purpose in life? I, for one, am a firm believer that everybody on this earth has a purpose or a calling for them. There is no one specific calling or one specific level of success that shows you that somebody is walking in their purpose. To me, purpose is a balance somewhere between what you are naturally gifted in, what you are deeply passionate about, and ways that you personally feel like you can impact the world around you. And there is no purpose that is too small or no purpose that is too big. I feel like everybody on this earth was assigned a different journey and a different assignment and a different way that they can positively impact the world. Everybody is gifted in something, and the more you get to learn yourself, the more you get to realize what you're gifted in. Sometimes it's something that you realize within yourself. Sometimes you realize it's something that people compliment you on all the time. Like, you may not realize it, but some people may look at you and say, girl, you give such good advice. Have you ever thought about being a therapist? Or, girl, you have such a nurturing, caring side to you. Have you ever considered being a nurse? Or so many different things. And so just pay attention to what you're naturally gifted in. And usually this kind of shows you what direction your purpose will lead you. And so once you start to think more about your purpose and your potential in this world, you start to become a lot more intentional with your future. You start to think more about the choices that you make and how they may impact your immediate future or where you want to be at in the next 5 years. If I go in this direction, is it going to hold me back, or is it going to help me thrive in the direction that I truly want to go in? And so you start to ask yourself these deeper questions, and these deeper questions help you realize your identity and your potential, and it helps you dream again. It gets you out of that survival state and more into that thriving, dreamlike state that makes you feel like you can do anything and you can take on the world if you want to. And so these deep questions about the meaning and purpose of your life lead me into the next point, which is that you start to draw closer to God. This is a very, very important sign that you are on your feminine journey, especially because as you start to ask yourself the deeper questions of life, this kind of postures your heart to be a lot more open and a lot more receptive to what life could bring you. This is the perfect place that God loves to meet a lot of women in, because this kind of heart posture makes fertile ground. And in this fertile place that you're in, there are so many different seeds that can be planted. And when I say fertile, I don't mean just physical pregnancy or a physical baby, but there's something that my friend Anna loves to tell me. She loves to tell me, like, Laura, you may not be pregnant in the physical, but you're definitely pregnant in the spirit. Like, you definitely have something within you that is being developed and birthed and will eventually make its way out into the world and have impact. This is where God loves to meet women, because he loves to plant seeds. He loves to plant ideas. He loves to inspire people. And so once you see yourself starting to seek meaning in life, it's hard to not find God in the midst of that. To me, I believe God is the one true guide that everyone should have a part of their lives, no matter what. Because if we are only guiding ourselves, we're going to go based off how we feel. We're going to go based off of what we think. We're going to be moving either too much out of our heads or too much out of our hearts. And God is the perfect balance. No matter what side of the scale that you are weighing higher than the other, God is always there in the midst to balance it out and to clarify your voice and to clarify your thoughts and to clarify your emotions. His silent convictions and his words of clarification, and when he shows me an idea or when he helps me process something that I'm processing, he comes into my life and he brings me so much clarity and he brings me so much guidance no matter what kind of circumstance I'm going through. And the other side of drawing closer to God is honestly developing a relationship with him, and not just him, but developing a relationship with Jesus. When you develop a relationship with Jesus, it kind of helps you see your flaws a lot differently. It reminds you that from the beginning of time, God knew that I wasn't perfect. He knew that I was going to sin. He knew that I was going to mess up. And he had a plan all along to reconcile me back to him. And when you see Jesus as the true reconciler, it helps you look at your flaws and the flaws of other women around you a lot differently. Because if God knew I wasn't going to be perfect, then I don't have to hold myself to any kind of perfect standard. I can just be myself and honor exactly where I'm at each part of my journey. That is one thing I believe that definitely comes with your feminine journey, is just truly drawing closer to God, drawing closer to the Lord, and truly understanding how he sees you, and also just wanting to see yourself the way that he sees you as well. And so the next sign, if not the most important sign that comes with embarking on your own feminine journey, is learning how to decenter men. Learning how to decenter men. I feel like most women, if not all women, encounter this on their feminine journey. If it's not something you've mastered since you were younger, it's definitely something you will master in your 20s or 30s. Usually this is a catalyst for most women deciding to become more feminine or deciding to pour into themselves more. And if it was your catalyst, girl, there's no shame in your game, because if you didn't learn it at the beginning of your journey, you will learn it at some point somewhere along the way. But really what decentering men means is that you begin to see men for exactly who they are, not just their potential or not just who you want them to be. So it kind of helps you evaluate your relationships a lot differently, helps you accept the lessons that came with every relationship that didn't work out, and just know that he's just a man. He's just a man. He's not any more important than he actually is. He's not any more, desirable than what he actually looks like or what he's actually presented himself to be. And if you truly take a step back and look at men for how they show up and how they present themselves in your life, it will really show you who they are. So if a man is trying to tell you who he is or tell you what he's about, girl, do not take his word for it. Keep all wordplay at face value and just know that if his actions and how he shows up and his consistency, if it doesn't match who he says he is, then girl, believe that, okay? Believe the inconsistency. Believe him not showing up. Believe him putting you on the back burner. Believe him not prioritizing you. That will show you who a man truly is. And another side of decentering men is that you begin to serial date a lot less and start to lean more into intentional connections. One thing that, a lot of women like to call this a hoe phase, quote unquote. I don't believe it's a hoe phase, really. Because you don't necessarily have to, open yourself up sexually to men in this particular phase of life. But I feel like every woman goes through a season where they just don't like being alone. And they just feel like they have to have the presence of a man in their lives in order to be content. So when you start to pour more into your femininity, you just start to realize that I like it here. I like it here. Regardless of whether a man is in the picture or not, I like it here. I don't need to entertain anyone. I don't need to keep a roster. I don't need to keep the same old men who ain't been nothing for me yet in rotation. I don't need to lean on my love life to make my entire life content. I can be content without that. And so that comes with intentional dating, because when you're intentional about who you allow to see yourself with romantically, it's like, you gotta show up, my love. You gotta show up. And I'm not accepting bare minimum, okay? You start to realize that you don't have to accept bare minimum to have a man in your life. No one is perfect. No man has to show up for me perfectly. But in my opinion, you have to be able to meet me where I'm at. You know, you have to be aligned with who I am as a woman. I can't accept anything less. You know, if I'm 23 and thriving and creating a beautiful life for myself, I can't still be accepting the type of men that I would have dated at 19, 20. You know what I'm saying? Before I had something going for myself. No, we're not doing that. I'm 23. Like, respectfully, I'm in the middle of bossing my own life up. You know, I'm in the middle of starting my own career. I've created a home for myself. I have my own car. I have my own job. I have my own life. I've graduated college. Like, respectfully, like, as you elevate in life, it's okay to elevate your standards. You deserve a man who can meet your standards. And trust and believe me, for every woman out there, there is a man that God created to perfectly complement you as who you are. You are not too much for anybody, babes. If you are with a man and he's making you feel like you're too much, maybe you're just with the wrong man, okay? Trust and believe that there's a man out there who will empower you, who will honor your femininity, who will honor your heart, your feelings, your emotions, who will not disrespect you, who will not walk all over you like a doormat, and who will honor you as the woman God created you to be. And another thing is that being single is not a punishment. It is not a prison sentence. And I experienced this too at the beginning of my current single season, where I was like, okay, God, he wasn't it, so what's next? Like, what else do you have for me? I know there's something better. I was eager to see what was better for me. And honestly, I had to realize that being single is, there's nothing wrong with being single. When you're single, it's the perfect time to bet on yourself. It's the perfect time to start a new idea, start a new project. It's the perfect time to switch careers. It's the perfect time to invest in yourself, because none of the choices that you make for yourself personally will impact anyone around you. That is one thing that I have found to be so beautiful about my single season, that when I do get in a relationship again, I'm pretty sure that relationship is going to be with the person I'm with for the rest of my life. And so I get to do everything that I want to do right here, right now, before it affects anybody. And honestly, this is just a perfect place to be in. Like, I love it here. And if my future husband is watching this, baby, no rush. Take your time, my love. Take your time, okay? Because I'm just really happy where I'm at. And I truly hope that all single women watching this learn to find that happiness within themselves as well. The next sign that you may be moving into your femininity a lot more is that you begin to value speaking more intentionally. You start to realize that your words hold power, and you want to be careful how you use them towards yourself and towards other people. So this goes with speaking down on people, talking bad about people, spreading drama, spreading gossip. You want to be a lot more careful with the words that you use, because when you are truly engaged with your own life, and when you're truly pouring into yourself and focused on yourself, it's hard to focus too much on what the next person has going on, and it's hard to be invested in pointless drama that has nothing to do with you. Now, as a girl, I'm gonna be transparent. You know, sometimes I like to hear, you know, a quick little tea. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes I like when my friends call me and they have something, you know, to tell me, but I don't go out of my way to listen to drama. I don't go out of my way to insert myself in drama, and I don't go out of my way to be in on the latest gossip unless it's something that I notice. If I notice it, I ask about it. If somebody brings it to me, I ask about it, and I leave it right there. But when it comes to gossiping, it's just spreading negativity, spreading negative news, going out of your way to find out what's tea about other people, and it don't got nothing to do with you. Now, gossip to me is not your friend calling you and telling you something that happened to her. That's not gossip. But your friend calling you and telling you about something that happened to the next person that she don't know, that you don't know, and that got nothing to do with y'all, that might be gossip. And so I would say, as you become more feminine in your journey, you start to care less and less about that kind of negative talk, and you just start to become a lot more focused on yourself, to be out here focusing on what the next person has going on. You know what I mean? And another side of speaking more intentionally that may be unpopular, but I'm gonna say it, is less cursing and less vulgar language. Now, me personally, I don't curse, and I'm not going to say if you curse, you're not feminine. Like, I believe naturally everybody curses just a little bit. Like, you catch me on the wrong day, you catch me when I'm heated, or you catch me rapping along to a certain song and I forget to bleep the words out, you might just hear a cuss word slip. And honestly, nobody judges anybody for that. It's when you're speaking and you're being extremely vulgar for absolutely no reason, or you're dropping cuss words left and right that don't even add to the point that you're trying to emphasize, or don't even add to the joke that you're trying to tell. You're just cussing just to hear yourself cuss. That's when I feel like it's overkill. You know what I mean? When you speak more intentionally and you know how to articulate yourself, you don't need to cuss up a storm to get your point across. People gonna hear you regardless. Now, for me, I find that I don't have to cuss at all to say what I gotta say. But if you do curse, if cursing is not something you have, banned from your vocabulary altogether, that's okay. But just as a woman, as a lady, just watch the way that you speak. And if you are gonna cuss, just learn how to dial it back. And that's the reason why I stopped cussing altogether, is because I realized that I didn't know how to dial it back. I used to cuss like a sailor. Like, I remember one day I was at work and I think I was telling a story to somebody and I was just listening to myself back. I'm like, dang, does it take all of that, Laura? Like, it took all of them F-bombs and B-words to say what you had to say? And then I put myself on a challenge. I was like, Lord, go a day without cussing. I did that first day. I said, Lord, go a week without doing it. I went a week. And then after that week, I was just like, you know what? If I can go a week, then maybe there's no need for it. Let me just stop. So if you're watching this, you don't have to stop altogether. But I would just say, if you do speak very vulgarly, I would just say, learn how to dial that back. As a lady, you want to be seen and not heard all the time. So you don't have to cuss so much to get your point across. So there's that. And the last sign to me that shows that you are moving into your femininity or your feminine era is that you begin to express yourself a lot more intentionally. And this looks like a lot of different things. For some women, it looks like, indulging more in your beauty routines. It means finding your signature style or dabbling in makeup, learning how to find your signature style. That's my favorite thing. I love makeup. I'm more of a natural beat kind of girly, but over the last year or the last 9 months, I would say I've definitely been refining my signature beauty routine more and more. And I'm at a point where I love the way that I do my makeup. But it can look like, discovering fashion, discovering, just so many different passions and hobbies within you that you may have suppressed or you may have abandoned a long time ago. And it looks like just discovering those things again and not being afraid to express yourself, being unapologetic about the things that you love and prioritizing the things that you love. Like, me personally, I could look at makeup routines all day long. I could shop in Ulta all day long. Like, I could do that all day long. That's my thing. I love keeping my hair done. I love keeping my nails done. Those are things that help me feel feminine, things that help me feel confident. So it just looks like redefining what a confident woman looks like to you and just embodying those things. Now, you don't have to keep your nails done. You don't have to keep your hair done. You don't have to have a face full of makeup to be deemed as a feminine woman, but it just means doing the things that you're passionate about, doing the things that light you up inside, and being unapologetic about those things. And that is what truly makes a feminine woman. She knows how to make herself happy. She knows how to be passionate about herself, towards herself, and she doesn't expect the world around her to love her before she learns how to love herself. And so those are a few of the signs to me that show that you are moving into your feminine era. So I hope you can relate to any of the signs. And if you are going through any of these signs, feel free to comment down below. Let me know where you're at in your feminine journey. Let me know what made you realize that you are becoming more feminine, or just some things that make you feel soft and confident as a feminine woman. And if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.